Welcome, y'all, to your weekly dose of yoga inspiration. This is the Joffrey Yoga Podcast, where every episode is going to offer you a unique path to help you deepen your practice and enrich your life on and off the mat. Whether you are a dedicated yoga student seeking a moment of calm in a hectic day, or if you're a yoga teacher striving for balance and sustainability in your career, there's going to be something here for you. Every month, our journey here unfolds through 4 distinct episodes. And today's episode is called Yoga Off the Court. This is my playful twist on taking yoga off the mat, coming from my background and love of playing sports and watching sports and just being a fan. Yoga Off the Court is my bi-monthly newsletter that goes out on the 1st and the 15th of every single month. And if you're interested in reading those as they get sent, you can definitely head over to joffreyyoga.com and sign up to get the goods delivered in real time straight to your inbox. For the podcast, once a month, I recap those newsletters here. So that's what we got today. And thank you so much for choosing to be here. Let's get into it. I always kick off my newsletters with a little bit of life updates. I find personal connection and relatability is super important, and you're more than welcome to respond back to me in the comments or through my newsletters to let me know how these things resonate with you and what is going on in your life, because I want to know. We have had some cold weather up here in Canada and some serious snow this month. I went from appreciating the cold and being super excited about the freshness of winter and skating outside and all that goodness to, oh my God, it is freezing and I can't wait for summer in the span of like a week. As I'm recording this today, we do seem to be in the clear as the weather has warmed up a bit and the snow is starting to melt. But as all Canadian winters go, it's too early to get our hopes up. Keep your winter gear close by, folks. Naturally, this got me thinking about my retreats. And so I'll dive into those shortly and give you some updates there. February was also Valentine's Day, and I had my usual grinchy attitude about it all. I experienced a similar feeling over Halloween and then over the Christmas holidays. And truly, it's my kids that get me excited for these things. I see their excitement, and it kind of helps me turn around and bring me to a place of appreciation and joy. On the other hand, I get really curious about where this all comes from. I realize I'm becoming more and more aware of these manufactured cycles of the holiday seasons that come one after the other. And then my kids get sick and then they get better and then they get sick and then they get better. And it's all related to these crazy holidays that push us towards these super unhealthy habits and also unnecessary consumerism as the parent. And I ask myself, why am I teaching this to my kids? Why? So finding the balance between those two perspectives is something that I think about often. And I'm curious if you resonate with this too, or if I'm just some weird yoga teacher on the brink of minimalism and being a complete hippie. Yoga and love was something that I touched on in the newsletters as well. And when it comes to love, I think about the yoga practice and how it can help us facilitate more love, right? I look at this from the lens of platonic love and how much of a dire need this is and why it's the basis for me offering hands-on assists in my yoga classes. My teacher, mentor, and friend Dallas Delahunt taught me this over 10 years ago, and the message still rings true. We are deprived of human-to-human connection more than ever before. We need to desexualize touch and bring platonic love back into our lives. And yoga can be a catalyst and a safe space for us to cultivate that type of connection. When I place my hands on a student's body, the primary focus is to help them ground, connect to their breath, and feel that genuine platonic love. A loving touch can be so powerfully grounding and healing. We are more connected, yet simultaneously disconnected from each other than ever before. In terms of relationships, I've been reflecting a lot on this as well. Perhaps some of you who've been following me have kind of pieced it together, but my partner and I parted ways back in November, and while it was most certainly for the best, I'm still human and grieving the end of it a few months later. Once again, though, finding balance has been challenging for me. This idea of my 4 pillars, I say, are my kids, my business, taking care of myself, and then managing the relationships in my life. Finding the balance between those four pillars has been super challenging for me. And it's something that is elusive and difficult and is just part of the journey that I'm on, I guess. This is life. So I don't have any clear-cut answers there. But what I do know is that none of these circumstances are indicators of happiness and peace. I think that's where the yoga and meditation practice has helped me the most. It is possible to experience and live in this space irrespective of life's challenges. You can be happy and at peace and still be having some major challenges going on in your life. I think this is something a deep yoga and meditation practice has the ability to teach anyone. Something that I've learned from the practice and that I am eternally grateful for is the concept of equanimity. Equanimity is mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. This is your Google definition of equanimity. And I love it. The sutras talk about it. Buddhism and Vipassana talks about it. Equanimity is not something of just eliminating emotions and being completely stoic, for lack of a better term, because Stoicism also talks about equanimity, but it doesn't mean ridding yourself of emotion. Anyways, let's move on. Off the court inspiration is the bread and butter of this newsletter and this podcast, and really is all about me sharing these tips, tricks, and inspiration from the sporting world to help you relate with the yoga practice in everyday life. And it's not always from the sporting world, but it's some idea of taking yoga beyond just the mat, right? So this past month, I focused a lot on consistency, and I've shared quite a bit of content on the topic. I wrote a blog post on my website, and I recorded an off the blog episode on this podcast. So you can scroll back and check out the one on consistency. It's short and sweet, just like all my podcasts are. So you can consume them even though you're super busy. In my blog post, I shared my 2 secrets to consistency. And I realized afterwards that I actually have a third. So here they all are for you in one shot. My secrets to consistency. Before I get into them, why are we talking about this? Because this is that time of year when any of that New Year energy that you had on January 1st is probably starting to fade. It's quite predictable, to be honest, and absolutely normal. This is the thing about motivation. It can't be relied on. If you always relied on being motivated to do something, you're not going to get anything done in life. I'm not always motivated to take care of my kids, but I got to do it. It's my responsibility. The idea of equanimity and discipline in the yoga practice, they teach us to stay balanced and understand how to stick with our practices even when we don't feel like it. So the first secret is to schedule, schedule, schedule. I live by my Google Calendar. Consistency starts with that intention, and intention needs structure. To make yoga or anything a regular part of your life, you got to schedule it in. Just like you do your meetings, just like you do everything else that's important, schedule in your practice. If you're not scheduling it in, you're not prioritizing it. The second secret that I talk about is building self-awareness. Consistency isn't just about showing up, but it's about creating an environment where showing up feels natural. So get real about your routines. In your self-awareness practice, ask yourself these 3 questions. Question 1, do your morning and evening routines support your well-being? Question 2, are there moments when you can stack habits? This one's not my favorite, but it might be a reality. Can you practice yoga or a pose or 2 while you're listening to a podcast or during the game while you're watching Netflix on a commercial break? Question 3, are you setting, this one is my favorite, are you setting realistic bedtime and wake-up goals to ensure that you're rested and ready for your day? The bonus secret is the magic of 10 minutes. I personally think I made this whole thing up on my own. If it's a thing out there and you've heard someone else talk about it, maybe it's entered my subconscious somehow, but my timer is the #1 used app on my Apple Watch. I got this fancy ass watch, and the only thing I do with it is time everything. Because life is so busy, it is easy to feel like I don't have enough time for all the things that I want to do. Not just yoga, So when I feel overwhelmed by the amount of things to do, I set my timer and I tackle one thing, just one. That might be putting the kids' toys away. It might be putting the 5 million dishes away, or folding all their little tiny ass socks and underwears and laundry, or it might be my yoga practice. What happens when I do this is that I'm often surprised at how much I was able to get done in that tiny amount of time. And the truth about a daily yoga practice, the length of it doesn't fucking matter. It's the act of showing up. 10 minutes of movement, meditation, or breathing can absolutely shift your energy, calm your mind, and create a crazy ripple effect that will benefit your entire day. When you focus on small, consistent moments, rather than waiting for that huge chunk of free time, your practice becomes something doable rather than something you keep postponing. Okay, I hope that lands. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my upcoming retreats. And in the spirit of consistency, one of the things that I love about retreats is you get to go into these immersive environments where you practice with zero distractions. And then hopefully you can come back and it's easier to integrate it into those little chunks. So I have 2 retreats coming up this year. My summer yoga vacay is about 50% sold. The early bird pricing ends March 31st. My feel good retreat in Costa Rica is a week-long yoga and Pilates retreat. We're keeping up with the times here. I have an amazing co-host, Tash, who brings a wealth of knowledge to the table with not just yoga, but Pilates, sound baths, restorative yoga. She's known as the pranayama princess. So we kind of cover everything. You're there from Saturday to Saturday, and you get this full health and wellness experience that just takes care of everything from the inside out, and you're going to come home feeling truly amazing. This is a week in paradise. This is my signature offering every single year, and you got to check it out. But if it's not your thing, the weekend retreat in July is like the perfect appetizer for new retreaters or students looking for a more affordable option. Check them out in the links below, or you can go to my website, joffreyyoga.com. Again, I'll just put that link in the bottom to make it easy for you. These retreats sell out every single year. So please, if you're interested, reach out, book them ASAP. And if you're not sure that yoga retreats are for you, well, then I have an episode on this podcast channel just for that. You can scroll back. One of the most recent episodes was about retreats and why they could be life-changing. I got you. The last thing that I'll share with you is my virtual yoga membership. So in these newsletters, I upload 1 new class to my on-demand program every single newsletter. So you get 2 new classes a week. It is super affordable. It's only $11 a month Canadian and $111 for the entire year. So it's super, super affordable, and it's meant to complement your practice on those days when you can't get to the studio. You could filter by 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or 60-minute practices. So the first class is called Steady and Calm. It's a super cozy winter flow. I have a really sweet playlist that I paired with it that features Trevor Hall and Tens. They're like 2 different genres, but blending them together, it's just got this super cool vibe to it. And it's just honestly one of my favorite playlists. And it's really all about some gentle vinyasa movements to help keep you warm and relaxed through the winter chill. Maybe you're not in winter, but it's still a sweet practice. The second class that I uploaded was called Laptop Detox. It's yin yoga for your neck, shoulders, and wrists. And, you know, we're all on our laptops and our phones texting away a lot. So I thought I'd tackle that with a practice. These classes that I upload to the virtual yoga membership are pretty unique in the sense that they're actually recordings of my live classes in person. I hook up my microphone just like I do for this podcast, and I hook it up to an old iPhone, and I just hit record. And so you kind of get the full class experience as if you were in a yoga class. You'll hear me giving little bits of information to individual students one-on-one. You'll hear somebody coughing or leaving early because they didn't have the time to stay for Shavasana. You'll just get the full experience of like you were in a yoga class. So I personally like it because sometimes practicing an online yoga class, it's just like too polished. I like this because it's like raw and unedited. Link will be down below. You can definitely check it out. Okay, y'all. that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, leave a comment if any of this stuff is resonating with you. If you have questions, if you just want to say, thanks, Joff, appreciate you, please leave a comment, like, subscribe, follow, tap the bells, do the things, stay connected. Thank you so much. Peace. Am I going to get the balloons? Yeah. Ooh, confetti. All right. Peace, love, namaste. Thank you so much, everybody.